Hello, sisters. I'm here with Jennifer Lee, who is the author and founder of the Right Brain Business Plan, and also her second book, which has just come out. I need to look down to read the title of it. It hasn't fully cemented in my head. It's called Building Your Business the Right Brain Way. And many of you in this community have already heard about Jennifer through me over the years. I like to refer to her as my book big sister. She's also a New World Library author and just helped to initiate me into the world of publishing and has been a real friend and confidant on that path over the past years. And I also need to point out this my bust back here. I don't know if you can see that, but that is my right brain business plan that I'm building. And inside of her womb is my Unfolding Your Life Vision, which is another product that Jennifer has. So it's really great to be here with you. I know what a labor of love it is to write and publish a book. So first, just a hearty congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I know you're in the thick of writing right now, so I don't envy that
I
process.
know I'm envying you right now. I want to be holding it in my hands.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, thank
So
you so much for having me.
yeah, it's a pleasure. And I want to start out right away with really just looking in your creative space right now and just the work that I've done with you over the years is this really beautiful concept of seeing our businesses as a work of art. Can
hmm
you say more about that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, being an entrepreneur is such a creative self act of self-expression, so it's like you're giving birth to something. I know it's funny because in your right brain business plan you have this womb, and it's like you're giving birth to these different gifts and offerings that you're sharing with the world. And I think of that in terms of my business as a work of art. And it's because things with art, like especially with intuitive painting, things are so nonlinear, right? Things just kind of emerge and unfold. And I think typically when we think of business, we think of it as, point A to point B, very linear. You must follow these 10 steps and do it XYZ. When in fact, for many of us more feminine, creative entrepreneurs, it is quite an organic process. Things unfold over time and you follow your intuition. That leads you to another place and that might lead to another offering. The Right Brain Business Plan came about from doing an Art Everyday Month challenge. Like I had no idea it'd become this thing and this really big part of my business. So it's looking at it as, one, a creative expression of who you are, and then two, that you can never predict how it's going to unfold and just following your intuition on that path.
And I think it's hard to trust. It's hard to
Mm-hmm.
trust that, like, for instance, as I'm working on my book right now, I'm like just going in all different directions and it doesn't feel like I'm really getting anywhere necessarily.
Right. Yeah.
Although I've been through the creative process enough that I trust that there'll be a moment where it comes together. But can you
Right.
talk about like what the process is that you're laying out in this book? Like, how do you actually build a business in this
Mm-hmm.
artistic, intuitive way?
hmm Well, it's funny because there is no step-by-step method, right? I was just saying that that's kind of the more left brain approach. And I think what is probably most important, just in terms of a principle, is that you keep taking those small steps forward because that's what's going to give you the information. Like you keep sitting down to write, right? Probably every day, some form or fashion of writing or gathering your thoughts. And it's that act of doing that, all of the time that then will build and you'll start to see what is the pattern, what is it, how is it coming together. And I see that happen, in my own business, and I see that happen for other entrepreneurs. So it's a matter of kind of tuning into what lights you up, what are you passionate about. I know for you it's really helping women be leaders of their life and embrace their femininity. And then the more you share that message out there with your community, you start to attract your right people, and then seeing how that resonates, and then making offers to them. I know you have various offers that you have, your yoga teacher training, your group programs, your online stuff, your info products, and those, you have all of those now. And I think people probably look at someone like you or someone like me who has a bunch of stuff and say like, oh my gosh, I want it. Why can't I have that all now? But it happens over time and it happens from those small steps, which probably started from following your intuition, right?
Yeah.
Or looking at your own personal life of where are you struggling, where would you need help? And then creating that thing that would help you and then serve others. So, it starts from you and then you need to bring it out there in the world in small ways. And from that, it's kind of like the rock gathering the moss,
Yeah.
it's this step by step.
Yeah, and I was just I was at a birthday party last night and I was having a conversation with a friend who just started a business and he used to work in marketing for another company and he was saying
Mm,
how hard it is for him now in that he owns his own business to sell or to market.
mm.
Can you share some ways like how to be the voice and the advocate for these things that we're so passionate about as creative people, as intuitive people, but then how do we translate that into actually making sales in a way that feels good for us?
Right. Because a lot of times we think sales and we think,
It feels icky.
used car salesman, yeah, icky and just slimy or whatever. And of course, there are a lot of tactics out there that certainly make it feel that way. The way I like to look at it is we had talked a little bit about, your gifts and thinking of it as you have a gift to share with the world. And if you don't share it, you're actually doing a disservice to the people who really need what you have to offer. So, thinking it from that perspective, and it's actually not about you, and it's about this gift and this offering you have for them and how you're going to be helping the other person. So when you think of it that way and you think about how you're helping them, it's really this invitation, right, to be partnering together, if it's a service or if it's a product, how is this product going to help them? So always thinking of it from the other person's perspective and, making it. I think the other piece of it is not to just be like, okay, here's this thing, you want to buy it? Like it's like going to a networking event when people just shove their business card in your face. Like I hate that. I'm like, I don't even know who you are. So it starts with really building the relationship first and getting to know the people. What is it they're needing and wanting, and finding that place of where you light up and where that matches, and then make the offer. So it's not this like cold call to somebody or shoving a business card in somebody's face. You've already built that relationship with them through maybe it's through your newsletter, maybe it's through in-person networking, or if you're an artist, maybe a lot of shows that you do and you get to know your people and you develop conversations with them over time. I know I love getting your newsletter, Sarah, and it's like I feel like we're sitting down at a restaurant having lunch together like we've done
Yeah.
before. So I think that's one of the pieces that people miss. It's like they have a new program or a new product, they're like, okay, I got to go out there and sell it, but they actually don't have deep enough relationships with people to actually make that exchange really easy. Like, of course, they're going to say yes if you have this really deep connection with them and they've been getting value from you already. You've been demonstrating that through your writing or through whatever, valuable things that you're already offering in maybe a free way that they can get a taste. And then it makes the invitation to work with you or to buy a product just the natural next step.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as that starts to happen, like I know one of the things that you and I have spoken a lot about, we're both very sensitive women,
Yes, introverted. Yes.
introverted, highly sensitive
Hmm.
women who are running worldly businesses, and that can take a toll on us,
Yeah.
on our adrenals, on our self care. And so it's a constant dance to be
Hmm.
caring for ourselves as we are building our businesses. So
Hmm.
I think it's really important to talk about like the less sexy parts of building a business that I know
Okay.
that you're also teaching about, like teams and structures and systems.
Hmm.
Can you say more about why those are so essential in order to stay whole and healthy as we're giving our gifts?
Yeah, definitely. It's so important. And I think, you know, when you're just starting out, you may not have that type of infrastructure in place yet, but it's so important as you're wanting to get to the next level that you have people to help you because you can't do it alone, especially if you're wanting to build, you know, a kind of more of an enterprise thing where you're impacting people around the world. So making sure you have a team in place, and maybe that's just starting with, you know, a virtual assistant who's answering emails. That could be a great place to start. I know that's where kind of the first person that I hired. And so if you're wondering, like, is that the next step for me? If you're answering customer service emails about how do I log into this or how come this thing hasn't arrived yet when it said it was shipped the other day, it's like you cannot be spending all your time doing that. If you have these, you know, amazing creative gifts to offer to people, and if you're spending all your time in answering emails, you're gonna get stuck. So making sure you have that kind of support. And then in terms of systems and processes, you know, as you start to grow and have different offerings, your business is going to become more complex, right? Like for example, for me, and I think you have this too, Sarah, of, you know, there's information products, tangible products, there's like shipping, and then there's group things online, and it's a lot of things to keep track of, which can be, especially for right brainers, just a lot of details. So making sure, you know, I like to think of it as writing notes to myself. If I'm, you know, creating a new product or new program, like I'm constantly like writing, sometimes I'll just write emails to myself or to my team, and then we put it into a Google Doc. So the next time we run a program that's similar or that I launch a product that's similar, we can say, what did we do again? You know, so you're not having to reinvent the wheel every time because you want to be spending your time, you know, helping people in the best way you can and trying to research what was that email that you sent when you first launched the program. Like that's just a waste of time. If you can just have it easily available, that's going to make things run a lot more smoothly. And then from that, you can enhance things like, oh, that worked really well last time. I want to tweak it in this, you know, particular way, and then start to make things even better. But it helps to have that all documented.
And what about you as a woman, writing a book now, promoting her book, and running your business, running all these different courses and products? Like, what do you find are like the core rhythms and
Mm.
structures in your day and in your week that keep you inspired and just connected to what you most care about?
Yeah, it's so important because, yeah, those things I just talked about, team and structure, those are kind of the, you know, the infrastructure, the skeleton of it. But it's like, yeah, I need to be taking care of me, you know, the flesh part, the soul part. So actually, just, you know, a couple of things that for me are really important. I just did them last night is, you know, I went for a hike. I shut off my computer, you know, at 6 o'clock and went for a hike with my dog. Fortunately, just like you, I can walk outside and there's beautiful nature right outside my door. And then I went and got a 90-minute massage.
Nice.
You know, and it's a little bit crazy for me to think about because I have, you know, this book coming out and the video summit, and there's a lot to do. And yet I reach a point where like my mind, I'm typing words that don't make sense, or, you know, there's all these mistakes. I'm like, I need to stop and I actually need to take care of myself. So I build in time like that. So Fridays are my self-care days. And so that's, I don't do any meetings on those days. Those are days just for me. And sometimes I'm working, but just having that, because I'm so introverted and sensitive, having that day just for myself to do with it as I please is just so much more energizing than, you know, even having one phone call on a
Yeah.
Friday just really trips me
Yeah.
up. I'm that sensitive. So honoring that, you know, it's funny because our publisher, you know, they know about my self-care Fridays. And sometimes if they send me an email, they apologize even for sending me an email, like, sorry to be bothering you on your Friday. But it's so important because it's like
Yeah.
I've trained people to honor that. And I didn't used to do that before. I kind of mentally made a note like, oh, self-care Friday. But then I'd to have clients over at my house for meetings. I'm like, why am I resentful? Oh, because I
Yeah.
didn't honor my own boundary. So that's been a real key for me. Um, and then just making sure I take breaks during the day. You know, I go outside and I eat my lunch with my dog. So it could be really small things like that because it's not every day that I can just, you know, lounge around and, you know, luxuriate in self-care. It's those small things that kind of get me through the day to day because there's a lot to do,
Yeah.
in running a business.
Yeah, and you say something really radical that I really agree with and advocate about how really to get to the next level of success, we need to
Mm.
pause and rest and just slow
Yeah.
it down. Can you say a little bit about your experience with that? Because it seems to be very just counterintuitive to how we think about becoming successful.
It totally is. I mean, I think before, for me, like in the corporate world and just kind of following that overachiever mentality, I know you've been there too, of like, just need to go, go, go and strive and push. And I still have that in me, and I'm always having to keep that in check. But I find that when I actually am able to take that time for myself to pause, to have those self-care Fridays, or even if I'm, doing something big, to have the recovery time built in, that's when I can actually regroup and get connected back to what's important to me, so that I can make better decisions about how to move forward, that I can feel more creative. It's like when I don't do that, I get resentful. I'm like spending time answering emails or doing little bitty things that are easy to do but aren't the good use of my time. And so I kind of get in this weird mode. But when I can take a step back and say, okay, what do I need right now? What does my body need? My creativity? What does my muse need? Give that some space. Then I can come back to, my calendar and my business with a fresh new perspective. And that's really what helps me to think about what's next. And then I can give what's next more of me. I'm not as exhausted and all of that. So it's definitely still a challenge for me. And I think it's one of those things you teach what you must learn,
Yeah.
So I'm always kind of keeping that in the back of my head. Yeah.
Yeah, I just listened to an interview with Ariana Huffington earlier this week about her new book called Thrive. And one of the things she advocates for women is to sleep our way to the top, as in like literally sleep
Yeah.
more. So yeah, I
Right.
think it's not something that's like a message that's out in the world for us to really embrace, but we need
No.
to remind ourselves inwardly every day, like it's okay. I can rest, I can slow down, I can take care of myself.
Yes. Yes. I mean, there's like a bunch of emails that I still haven't responded to, and part of me feels guilty. And last night I was like, you know what? If I wrote back that email, like I probably would not make sense. And I would
Right.
be telling the person like the totally wrong thing longer term because I'm not thinking straight. So,
Yeah.
it's a matter of really taking care of yourself so that you can be more present
Mm.
for your life and for your business. Yeah.
So, can you let the women here know? I'd love to see for you to show us your book and to let us know
Oh,
like
sure.
how they can get it and just learn more about everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Sure, thank you. So this is the new book, Building Your Business the Right Brain Way, Sustainable Success for the Creative Entrepreneur. I'll flip through it a little bit because
So
it's, of course, very
beautiful.
colorful.
Yeah. Wow.
So there's lots of illustrated play sheets and fun stuff like that. So you can go to rightbrainbusinessplan.com, and there's information there. There's downloads for the play sheets. There's a guided visualization that is a bonus. It's not in the book. And there's a video, little short video class. And you can get that at rightbrainbusinessplan.com/RB biz. So that's RB and then BIZ.
Great. And we'll also put the link below in this blog post as well.
Awesome. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Such a beautiful book. I'm so happy for you. I'm so excited to just dive into it myself. And are there any parting words that you want to share with the women who are watching this today?
I think just continue to tune into what you're passionate about. Take care of yourself. I know Sarah's got great tools and resources for really tuning into your own message and your body and all of that wisdom. And so the more you can do that, the more you're able to be out there in the world in a more authentic and present way. And your business will grow from that.
Thank
So
you so
thank you.
much. Yeah, great to
Hmm.
have you here.
Thank you.